happy to be here, so I'm just going to get right to it. All right? So like many of you, I walked onto the campus of Wake Forest University ready to conquer the world. I was a naive 17-year-old freshman with hopes of being the next Surgeon General of the United States. All right? But at least that's what my dad wanted me to be. Now, he had it all planned out. I'd get a degree in neuroscience, start medical school, finish my residency back home in Maryland at Johns Hopkins, become Ben Carson's protege. And now that I think about that, probably not the best thing in the world. I'd graduate summa cum laude, of course. I'd join the Marines like him. Then I'd rise through the ranks, ultimately become the Surgeon General of the United States. So fast forward to the end of that first semester. 21 credit hours as a freshman, guys. I walked away from Wake Forest successful in one class. Now, I'll leave my GPA to the imagination, but let's just say I was invited to academic probation. Now, my daddy had big plans for me. So that one class, a freshman seminar in English. Now, it turned out that that was the turning point of the plan that I never had. I didn't have a plan at all. I thought things would be easy for me. I graduated in the top 5% of my class, 421 students, okay? I got a full academic scholarship to Wake Forest. College, piece of cake. Clearly, I am not the Surgeon General of the United States. So, here I am at the University of Indianapolis, Assistant Director of the Arts, Nonprofit Management and Communications, et cetera, in the Professional Ed Center. I've got a bachelor's degree in English, got a master's degree in nonprofit management, organizational development. I even started a PhD program, but I had to quit because I became a caregiver for my elderly great aunt and uncle. Okay? I've had a pretty successful career in fundraising in the nonprofit sector for the last 17 years. I can say that I hosted Dave Chappelle, Patti LaBelle, Smokey Robinson, and Earth, Wind, and Fire at the Kennedy Center. Even held a national position in my sorority, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. But ultimately, the plans that I had for myself, I would have never imagined. I would have never pushed through. I would have never come to this point in my life without my friends. So for the short time that I'm before you, I want to know, what about your friends? Okay? So plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. A person finds joy in giving an apt, meaning relevant or applicable, reply, and how good is a timely word. So what changed me? When did I decide to plan? And who were these advisors that helped me to succeed? So once I decided to walk onto the campus of the University of the District of Columbia after my semester away, I was Lieutenant Downing's daughter. So I may have forgotten to mention that my dad worked at a college. Yeah, yeah, so I could have easily gotten free tuition, but that wasn't a part of his plan for my life. So very quickly, administrators, people in the bookstore, professors, the kitchen staff, everybody became my friend. So they would go out of their way, seek me out, call me out, and then try to become my best friend. Now, I'd like to think that I've never met a stranger. I'm kind of likable. But at this point in my life, the rejection of flunking when I was a type A+ personality and excelled in everything that I did, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I kept my head down. I went to class, got my grades. Complete 180, I went from having no plan to having a 4.0 with 21 credits. So I made a few new friends in and out of the classroom and ultimately gained some wisdom throughout the process. Now, the book of Proverbs is all about wisdom, the ability to live life skillfully, and I would even say with ease. But we all know that this thing called life is not quite that simple. All right? So when my grandma Adele in Georgia got wind of my semester away, she says, common sense ain't common. All the book learning in the world and you still ain't got a lick of sense. All right? So plans fail for lack of counsel. Seems pretty self-explanatory. You plan to fail if you fail to plan. Now, right now, it's my hope that we all plan to graduate in this room. Praise God. Praise God. Okay, all right. Now, but what I need for you all to do right now is to visualize yourself walking across the stage, shaking Prez Rob's hand, grabbing the degree in the other hand, doing a happy dance across the stage. Hey, hey, you hear your parents calling out your name. You're walking down the steps. Feeling an overwhelming sense of pride, but also relief. Right? You finally did it. Now, for some of you, that feeling will be here in May or December. For others, got a couple more years to figure things out. Right? Okay. So why do plans fail? For lack of counsel. But with many advisors, they succeed. So what about your friends? Yep. Just like the TLC song, which probably makes me a person of a certain age, a seasoned saint. But I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, yes. Seasoned saints in the house, all right? But with age comes wisdom, so y'all need to get you some. All right? Now, I want all of us to think about a time that we've been here at UIndy and you've been faced with a problem. Okay? Now, you've wrestled with this thing in your head for a while, but no clear solution that you're coming to on your own. Let's just say a certain professor only accepts work in the way that he taught you how to do the work, and it needs to be exactly how he taught you how to do it. Or maybe, just maybe, your roommate decided they're going to stay up a little bit later. But they know that you need to be in bed by 11 p.m. so that you can gracefully roll out of bed, toss on your clothes, and at 8 a.m. make it into the classroom. Say so? Somebody say so. All right? But maybe you don't know how you're going to pay for those last few books. Maybe you don't have enough groceries. Maybe you need a little bit more change to get gas in your car so you can just make it back and forth to campus. And maybe you're starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed, both in and out the classroom, with things that are going on at home. Maybe you can't reach the family that you need to. In these friendships, in these relationships, situationships. I know this. Okay. But it happens because life happens. All right? Now I would guess that any one of us in this room would try to handle things on their own. Why? You know, I got this. I can do this, right? Now you can try to handle it on your own. I tried. I wasn't successful. But what about your friends? Who do you turn to for advice? Who is the listening ear? Who can you vent to? Who are the people that you keep around you to keep you up while things looking down? Okay? Now I believe we all need a tribe to survive. The ultimate hashtag, squad goals. Okay? So who are the people you need in your corner? What are the qualities of a good friend? So let me tell you about the friends that I had in my corner that helped me to succeed. So first, it was that someone who listens. Now imagine you're standing, schwitz, you look across to the library, and you see the biggest afro that you've ever seen. It's just walking. It's like a little cotton ball just floating across campus. Just floating across campus. Well, this was my best friend Terrence. So he floated across UDC's campus, and he was just like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, I'm fine. How are you? It just so happened that we were able to connect in many different ways. Our families were so similar, and he happened to be the person who was the closed mouth and the listening ear. So you know how Miss Cindy has, listening with the ear of your heart? That was Terrence for me. So I kind of started to open up a little bit about all of the pressure that I was feeling from my parents to be successful, to pay the bills, to graduate, to get a job, to get out the house, all of these things. Having someone there who really understood the importance of listening was really helpful for me. Then you have the friend that's there to encourage you. All right? This is your cheerleader, the hype man, the hype woman that gets everybody, yes, you're going to make it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Clearly, I dance a lot. Okay? This is the person that's going to turn that frown upside down. Now, that was my Isan. She was my sorority sister, so we joined the organization at the same time. She is truly my sister and always found a way to pull me a little bit out of my comfort zone when things were a little hectic, but she also encouraged me along the way. You need someone who is forgiving, okay? Someone who doesn't judge you when you step out of line, right? Now, this is the person, maybe you don't talk to them all the time. Maybe every now and again y'all pick up the phone and connect, but it's just like nothing ever changed. You can pick up right where you left off. Now, that was my girlfriend, Meg. Now, I mentioned I didn't want to talk to anybody. Who wants to talk after you failed? Fell flat on your face. Who wants to talk to anybody? Not me. But it just so happened that we crossed paths at the mall, right? She pulled me aside and was like, what's up? Like, I haven't heard from you in like months, and I just don't know what's going on with you. So we had our heart to heart. She forgave me for being an absent friend, right? But it was just like nothing had changed, and we were still in the halls of Bowie High School, making drum beats on the table at the lunchroom. Real silly stuff. But that was the person who forgave me even in my own mess. And then there's the friend that's always honest with you. Truth hurts sometimes, y'all. You need to have somebody in your corner that's going to tell you the truth no matter what. No matter how much you say, ouch. You need somebody there that's going to be honest enough with you, again, to tell you about yourself. For me, that was Karen T. Weaver. You got to say her whole name. Karen T. Weaver. Now, Karen T. Weaver is 20 years my senior, but don't tell her that I told y'all that. Okay? Now, I met her because my parents were like, you need to get a job. So I got a job. And at this job, I met Karen T. Weaver. So, just in talking in like my first week of training, Karen is like, so what brought you back? Like you went away to school, and she's super excited. And I said, well, I went to one too many parties, and I decided that I wasn't going to do exactly what I was supposed to do while I was away at school. And she laid me all the way out. All the way out. She laid me out. She basically told me a little bit too much about myself. She kept it really real. And I promise you, she constantly told me, you will not fail. You cannot fail. You shall not fail, could not fail, you will not fail. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. So you've got these people that are all around you. Now, I've shared a little bit about my advisors. Now, I'd like to think that you see many of the faculty and staff members here on campus as your advisors, as your wise counsel. Okay? A person finds joy in giving an apt reply, and how good is a timely word. So we, those of a certain age, have lived, survived, and are thriving through the same challenges that you all are experiencing. Don't think that everything that you all have done has not been done before. Maybe even better. All right? But I'd like to know and acknowledge that had it not been for God's grace, I would not be where I am today. So I've got these friends, and I've got God looking out for me, little on me. So without my tribe, without my fans of my success, without getting a good word, a word of wisdom, these are all things that I want you all to think about. One thing I know for sure, that the best friend that I have ever come across is God. We call him Wonderful Counselor. He understands what we're going through, when we're going through, and why we're going. He, who is the friend who sticks closer than a brother, he always listens, but truly God has listened. He has attended to the voice of my prayer, Psalm 66:19. He is the ultimate encourager. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Now, I mentioned before that my daddy had big plans for me. Turns out he did. He always forgives. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. 1 John 1:9. And Lord knows he is honest. God is not human that he should lie, not a human being that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? Numbers 23:19. Now I talked about my friends who listen and encourage and are forgiving and honest. But we all have that one friend who likes to fight. Now she say she gonna do what to who? Well, we all know that God has our back. Contend, Lord, with those who contend with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Psalm 35:1. Y'all never thought y'all hear Cardi B references. All right. So what about your friends? Who sticks closer to you than a brother? Who listens, encourages, forgives, and is always honest? Now I want all of you to create that plan. I challenge you to find the wise counsel. Seek out those advisors, and I beg of you, truly find the friends that you can depend on. But I pray that you seek out a good and timely word and lean on the best friend that you'll ever have. So what about your friends? Who's your tribe to survive? # squad goals.